Hello viewers, and again welcome at Spotlight, where we put leaders on the spot. Today we are joined by Kerugoya Ward, Member of County Assembly, hopeful, Mr. Munene Reuben, or commonly known as Dr. Wamuthaiga. Our theme today is youth and leadership, and he'll help us understand his aspirations and inspirations that has led him to be where he is today. Welcome, Mr. Munene.
Thank you very much.
Now, to start, maybe you can give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Thank you. First, thank you for hosting me on the show. My official name is Munene Reuben. Friends and comrades call me Dr. Wamuthaiga. I'm an aspiring MCA, Kerugoya Ward. And I'm a former graduate of JKUAT, Jomo Kenyatta University, where I pursued a BSc in Nutrition and Dietetics.
Thank you. Yeah. Maybe since we are talking about youth here, it will be good to know how old you are.
Okay, I'm 25. I will be turning 26 in September.
Very youthful indeed. Now, maybe you can tell us, what has been your motivation as a young leader?
Okay, happens that through my youthful life, I've taken deep interest in African history and African leaders, where I studied the biographies of great men. And it's through this that I got to take great interest in human affairs, where I read about people like Thomas Sankara and people like Marcus Garvey, Army Jacks. From them that I got the inspiration that my dream of being a leader dawned on me.
That means you started being a leader. Is there a specific position where you can say this is when I started being known as a leader?
Okay, let's say from a very young age, I used to be a captain of a football team at our home place, Kaideri Primary School, where I captained the football team. But it never hit me that I would rise to the ranks of being an aspiring leader like in a political arena. But when I joined campus, it's when we were being asked, what is your dream, by one of our lecturers, and when I just said it as a joke, I want to be the president of Kenya 2033, then they said I should start by being a class representative, which I was during my 4 years in campus. Then that's where I can stay. My dream of leadership, or my journey of leadership started.
Now, there are several areas that one can be a leader.
Yeah.
Why did you choose politics?
Okay, as I said before, I've told you I've studied the biographies of great men. Like, let's say here in Africa, I've studied the works of Thomas Sankara, the president of Burkina Faso, and whom I regard the best we have had in Africa. And it's from there that I realized that in politics, we need people who have surpassed that materialistic level view of things. Through reading about Sankara, and I decided, why can't I offer myself as one who is aware and guided by a philosophical thought? Why can't I offer myself in that political arena so that I can be able to transform the lives of people and show them a new style of leadership?
I think you talked about Sankara.
Yeah.
Maybe there must be something that you saw in him or read about him that really touched you and aspired to be like him. Maybe you can give us a few points about it.
Okay, one thing I will mention about Sankara that I really admired and I admire up to today, he was the first president in Africa to give women higher positions in the government. Then another thing that he did very unique that is different from other leaders is that when he got into power, he said that for you as a government employee, there is no first class or second class or third class citizens. If you are traveling abroad and you want to travel for a government work, you are going to use the normal level of the plane that is used by the common man, meaning that we save this money, and you are also going to drive the car that uses the least fuel, meaning that we save this money to help our citizens. Yeah. And another thing, that I also admire from Sankara is that he was youthful and he understood that for a person to be productive in any economy, you have to have a healthy mind in a healthy body. So one thing that Sankara did that is quite different and remarkable is that he ensured that the working population or the employees of the government usually had a day off where they could engage in sports and get to board. When they did this, it means the productivity of the country increased because the board or the cohesiveness among the workers was increased.
For those who don't know, Sankara is from which country?
He was from Burkina Faso, and in fact, he is the one that gave the country the name Burkina Faso. And let me add something. You see, like in Kenya, we have the Luo community and the Kikuyu community, where it is assumed that we have a rivalry or such because of this tribal way of thinking of things. So what Sankara did, he took a name from, let's say, Kikuyu and a name from Luo, and he combined the two names, right, Burkina and Faso, to mean land of upright people.
That's a very good information. Now, let's get into our local environment. So let's talk about Kenyan youth.
Yeah.
What are the challenges facing youth and that may be hindering them to become leaders?
Okay, one thing that is most definite and the major problem faced by youth aspirants is funding, or like lack of adequate finance. You know, in our political situations here in Kenya, people have taken a trend where they judge you in terms of what you are giving them, or as we call it in our mother tongue, Shina Jesse. So that's how they judge you. They assume that if you cannot Shina Jesse, you cannot make a good leader. So there are people who will listen to your manifesto, others will just ask you, buy a tea. If you are not buying a tea, don't talk to us. So when you are a youth and you have 100 people asking you to buy for them tea, it becomes a huge challenge.
That is funding.
Yeah.
Is there any other issue that you'd like to mention?
Okay, another issue that I would like to mention is probably, it's not a wide problem applying to all youth, but some youth, some are not taken seriously. But I think that is also a problem contributed by me, myself as an aspirant, and also probably others through assumption by the people. Because if you are a youth, you have to present yourself as a leader, because there are those qualities that people see in you, other than just talking or the way you address yourself, but the way you dress, the way you relate with the people, they portray you. Can you be a leader, or you are just joking or trying to create a name for yourself?
Are those some of the issues that you faced yourself? That you've talked about funding and not being taken seriously.
Okay, for me, I cannot say I was not taken seriously, because before I decided to vie, I first decided to hold a medical screening camp, so to show that I did in April last year. So that was quite far away from the political period of temperatures. So that's when I did it, to ensure that people see that when I come to them, they will see this person is serious.
Now, you're vying as a member of county assembly.
Yeah.
You talked about funding, and you mentioned about the common saying that Washina Jeshi.
Yeah.
How is it affecting your candidacy?
Okay. The issue of Goshina Njeshi, the way it's affecting my candidacy is that, let's say I come talk to a group of people, and after I talk to them, I probably offer them what I have. I tell them I cannot be able to manage to get you what you want, but I have this tea that you can share. Then someone else comes who is an aspirant like me, vying for the same position, he has more money, will come and gives each and everyone a 50 bob. So probably a few, not everyone, most or a few will forget that I was there, so they will remember the one who gave them money. Yeah. So that's how I can say it's affecting me, and it's also probably affecting my approach to people. Yeah.
We will get into details about your candidacy.
Yeah.
But for now, let's talk about Kenya as general.
Yeah.
And where we know that youth in Kenya take more than 20% of the population.
Yeah.
But in the leadership, we have less than 10% as youth.
Yeah.
What would you comment about that?
Okay, what I would say, for the previous years, and for the previous years or the previous elections, what has been happening is that youth have never taken interest. And as we know, the common notion or the common thing is that we, the youth, we do not vote. Like you can ask many of them, they did not vote in 2013. But I'm certain that this time things will change and the youths will vote in huge numbers. So I expect to see more youthful aspirants in the parliaments or in the respective positions, unlike before where they did not vote. So my hope is that will change, because I'm expecting the youths to vote, and I've seen it's like the youth now have their backs against the wall. So they have no other option but to vote, to come out and vote for ideal leaders.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've talked about being knowing that now there is no other option for the youth, so that they now means that they have to vote for the youthful leaders.
Not necessarily the youthful, but
Yes.
the ideal ones.
The ideal youth.
Yeah, the ideal youth. You can be a youth, but you have no vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a notion that the youth have no experience. That's why people tend to vote for the older people, because apparently they have more experience than the youth. What did you say to that?
Okay, that's a notion that's like a hypothesis which has not yet been proven. Because you can see, even from the biblical times, we had King David. He was young, he was the youngest son of Jesse, and he managed to he managed to take over from King Saul. I've mentioned Sankara. He was very youthful and he took power, and he managed to transform his country. So we cannot say that youth cannot read. We can also we can come here to Kenya and look for people like Babu Owino. Babu Owino has been a leader at University of Nairobi, so he is still youthful. So that notion of lack of experience is something that probably does not apply. Yeah.
You've talked about being the president the year 2033.
Yeah.
But now you started vying. This is your first time vying for a political seat, right?
Yeah.
You started as a member of county assembly.
Yeah.
What are the key points in your plan to get to the highest achievement, that is being the president of Kenya?
Okay, for you to get to a higher position, as the Bible tells us, is that for you to be trusted in big things, you first have to be trusted in small things. So my aim is that, let's say let's say I win in August. I will do my work very well and ensure that I fulfill my agendas or the promises that I've given to the people of Kerugoya. And as they say, chema chajiuza, kibaya chajitembeza. So I'm certain if I do good, good will follow me.
That's true. Yeah. Is there a specific reason you decided maybe I won't start as a member of parliament or the governor? You decided to start with a member of county assembly. Is there a specific reason for that?
Yeah, you know very well, we have to be realistic. Like, you cannot be so optimistic that you lose the true vision of the concrete reality on the ground. Happens that you have to start at a level that you know you can manage. So for me to start to a level of an MP, that I would have definitely lost. You know, it would be like competing, you are a gazelle trying to beat a lion.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to start where I have to be realistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there is the things that the incumbent member of county assembly, Kerugoya Ward, maybe there are things that you notice that he didn't do as quite as he was expected to, and maybe he did. You're just trying to improve. Which one is which? Okay,
first I will mention garbage control in town. Happens that being a traditionally Kerugoya has been the district headquarters or the headquarters of Kirinyaga. But when you come to a town, there is so much garbage on the town. And that's the work of the member of county assembly to ensure that we have a clean town, because a clean town will bring us more investors. Go to our public toilets, go to the hospitals, go to the police stations, go to the stage. You'll find that our toilets are always very dirty and stinking. Let's say I'm a new person who comes to Kerugoya. So the notion that I go back with of Kerugoya is a town that is dirty. So such are the things, those are the rural roads that we have. Then being a youth, he was a youth when he was voted in. So we expected that he would maintain that contact with the youth and maintain the contact with the people, because one of the roles of an MCA is representation. And how can you represent your people when you are not in contact with them? So because you have to come down to the people, let them tell you their problems. Yes, you may have ideas, but those ideas, if supplemented by the ideas of the people, you could do something better or prioritize on what is necessary.
So in a nutshell, did he do what is expected or not?
Okay, I would say probably he did, but what I can say is that I can do 20 times better than he did.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go for a short break, but before when we come back, we'll talk more into details about your aspirations as a political leader.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping it spotlight. When we come back, we'll talk about Munene's manifesto and his political aspirations.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
ACK Oasis Ladies Hostels, Kutus. Ne Monsieur Moderu wa Kereu. Mae ne kwa wenke. Tore na TV, Wi-Fi, security ne ya Kereu. Dogora naguo ne wa muhuko waku. Kwa hora makeria, tuserere wobisisito. Nyumba ya Oasis of Hope, Kutus. Onakana utwarerie na namba. Kibogo mugwanta igere mugwanta. Idato inyanya igere.
Welcome back, and this is Spotlight. We are here with Mr. Munene Reuben, who is an aspiring member of County Assembly for Kerugoya Ward. Now, before we went to the break, we were talking about issues affecting youth and leadership in Kenya. Now, we'll go back now and talk about Kirinyaga youth, and more specifically the Kerugoya Ward youth. The research and the reports have shown that there are three key areas that usually affect youth most. There is empowerment, education, and employment. Maybe you can start with empowerment. What are your plans to make sure that the youth of Kerugoya Ward are empowered?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing to empower people is knowledge. So, and knowledge makes one unfit to be enslaved. So my idea to ensure that the youths are empowered is first by ensuring that information is properly disseminated throughout the county or throughout the ward that I'm vying in. So my idea first is, when I'm voted in, I will ensure that we have this public notice board in the common places that people meet, like let's say the market, the stage, and the stadium. Such places that once we have such notice board, we can display or relay information that regards the county. Then there is to the specifics. What can I do to empower the youth? First thing we have to realize is that Kerugoya Ward is very well endowed or blessed with climate that favors agriculture. But when you check very well that most of the produce that we are selling in our markets, we usually get it from people from Mwea, from Karatina or Kagio. But my idea is that we can start something called agronationalism, where we ensure that most of the produce that we sell in our market comes from us. And my idea is that, let's say, take a place like Kiandieli, take a place like Waigiri or Kalia, empower some group of youth to do a project farming on onions in some other, in Kiandieli. Koigo come, they do something different like carrots, go to Waigiri, let them do cabbages on a large scale level. Meaning that if we do that, most of the produce that we sell to a market will be coming from us. Also, and ensure that by doing so, we are also taking them through some financial literacy training where they can be taught on the essence of saving so that they can diversify into other businesses.
Okay, now that's empowerment. What about education, which is a major challenge for youth today?
Okay, one thing for education, first thing, education, it has the ability to make the child of a miner to be the owner of that mine. So my idea on education is to ensure that most of our youths get to school, not just at the Form 4 level. What about after Form 4? We can ensure that, like we have Kaideri Polytechnic that is just next to the hospital. If we can take such a polytechnic and try to ensure that this polytechnic does not only teach people and leave people to go outside, we can empower such a polytechnic with things like sewing machines, where we ensure that these sewing machines are the ones that will come in the end that they can use to make sweaters for the various schools in the town. That means that this education that they are getting is not just education to make them colorful, but education to make them productive. Because we are training them and we are ensuring what they are trained they are doing also. And also to ensure that our education is continuous and free-flowing, we can ensure that we have a public library within the ward that people can use during the holidays. Because you can see, yes, Kerugoya Ward is very well, we are some of the best performers, and in fact our literacy is about 98%. But one thing that you check, most of the people that are performing the national exams are not natives of Kerugoya. Some of them come to our private schools, perform very well. But what about our people who are within the ward, those who are in day schools? We ensure that these people get adequate bursary, they get it on time, they are informed on time about the bursary, and also they have a public library where they can engage in, go and read during the holidays other than sitting in the mongedos.
Now we are talking, remember we are talking about what can you do in your position as a member of county assembly.
Yeah.
We've talked about empowerment and education.
Yeah.
What about employment?
Okay, employment. One thing, as our president Uhuru Kenyatta tells us, that one thing that we have to instill in the youth and to make the youth understand is that you do not go to school so that you can always get employed. You can also create opportunities and employ yourself and also create opportunities for more. So my idea for Kerugoya Ward is to create an environment where entrepreneurship can thrive, so that these people do not only rely on being employed but also become employers. So for me, one thing that I will first start with is at the basic level. We have these rural areas, rural settlements. You go to like a place like Saiti, there is this place behind Kaideri Polytechnic. Such places, let's say we dig wells and empower the youths to have like a local-based laundry, home-based laundry, where they can clean clothes for the people who are busy working in offices. We market this place, they clean these clothes, and we have them ironed and we return them to the people, meaning that we have not only provided water, but we also provided ways that these people can ensure these clothes are cleaned and also take them to the people and they then get paid. And also, as I said, in agriculture, if we get them to engage in entrepreneurship through agriculture, these people will employ themselves and also create opportunities for more. Because once let's say I produce pumpkins in my farm at a large scale level, meaning that I need these pumpkins to be transported to the market. Who are these transporters? These are the youths using border borders. They will transport those produce to the market. Yeah.
Okay, now we've talked about that. That's a broad area we've talked about, but we'll now talk about it in details.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your manifesto, the one you're using as a candidate.
Yeah.
Now, let's first talk about the youth funds.
Yeah.
They are a few years back we had the Kazi kwa Vijana project that I'm not sure at this moment if it's doing that well.
Yeah.
What are your views about Kazi kwa Vijana first? Then we can talk about the youth of Kerugoya Ward.
Okay, about Kazi kwa Vijana, we can say to an extent it was helpful because it was an initiative of the Kibaki government, where one thing that he did, he ensured that the youths are able to afford border, and these borders do not consume a lot of fuel. So to a point it was very helpful. But now, since the border has become a trend, we have to diversify. Not everyone can be using border. So we need something else that can also be a Kazi kwa Vijana, but a diversified Kazi kwa Vijana.
Okay, now at Kerugoya Ward,
yeah,
the youth maybe they didn't get much of help from the Kazi kwa Vijana initiative.
Yeah.
What are your plans as a member of county assembly to make sure that they are funded enough to maybe start their own businesses and such aspirations?
Okay, one thing that I've noticed is that with the youth, including myself, we have very good ideas, but the problem is the capital to initiate these ideas. But I can tell my fellow youths not to worry, since if they vote me in, one thing that I intend to do as their representative and the representative of the people of Kerugoya is to ensure that there are these youth funds that are reserved for the youth, reserved for the women, and other groups that have different privileges or different problems. So one thing that I want to do once I'm voted in is that to ensure that I have a cross follow-up, and I ensure that if it's a group of youth that wants to access these funds, I want to represent them in a way that I'm not just seated at the office, but I want to closely follow up and see where are they making a mistake, why are they not getting these funds, what are the limitations, and ensure that they get these funds, and not just get these funds, and also give them proper advisors who can advise them why take this business and not this other business, so that at least they can start such projects with the youth fund, with the women fund. Like we have very many women group that can start a project. Like you can see, if you have read about the There is a commercial village in Machakos called Buvo or Mbovu Commercial Village in Machakos. This is a group that was started like in the common thing we say in our mother tongue, kiama kia tumia, siama sia tumia, such thing. If we can ensure that these groups become employers by starting projects like those where, let's say, they are producing flour, they are producing milk or such thing, that means they will create employment and also create more opportunity. So my aim is to ensure that the youth, the women get these funds, and not just funds, they get the funds and they initiate projects that can become potential opportunities for the people.
No, there have been issues that Kerugoya doesn't have recreational parks, which are very essential. Like now, for example, Machakos has been on the forefront with such projects. Are there any measures in place to make sure that maybe we have recreational parks in Kerugoya?
Okay, once voted in, the first thing that I would intend to so much do, it's about, I'm a sportsman, and one thing that that dismays me is that we have a very good stadium, but this stadium has not been elevated to a way that it can attract people and also create opportunities for our talent. So I would introduce a registration in parliament or a bill in parliament that we push for our stadium to be upgraded to the best levels. Since if we can upgrade that stadium, it will not only serve us in terms of sports, but also serve us in a way that we can provide parking and also create more opportunities, more cash for the town. So I would ensure that that stadium is elevated, and in that stadium we have, let's say, like a community social hall that where people can come and practice their talents. People can come, let's say, we can also start our program like the Churchy Live. We can start our Churchy Live in Kerugoya, where we have very many youths who are talented. All that needs is, let's market that product. Let's tell people, come pay 100 shillings, come get entertained on Friday evening, so that you can also relax your mind after a long week of work. So that's my idea.
You mentioned that you are a sports person. Now I'm sure the youth that you've been associating with in the field would want to know, how will you help them? How maybe you've done it in the past, and how exactly are you planning to make sure that your sport, that is football, right, it doesn't lag behind in Kerugoya?
Okay, first, before I can mention that, let me first say that in sports, I can assure you I've done much, and I'm also willing to do much. Like at JKUAT, I'm founder of the most successful football club in JKUAT called Highlanders CF, where I was a co-founder and also the longest serving captain up to date. And also here in Kerugoya, I've assisted various clubs. I'm sure I'm the only aspirant of all those vying in the MCS position, also probably another higher position, to give each football team within Kerugoya Ward a ball that they have been using to play. That I did in April last year. And I'm also the only aspirant to have organized a football tournament, which I did last year, even before the politics. So I've been there, I've been helping. I've also been helping indirectly in that, let's say a football team needs uniform, I have also been ensuring that they get the uniform at cheaper cost other than straining themselves. So when they ask for me, where can we get uniforms, since I have networks, I ensure I do get the uniforms for them at a cheaper cost.
Maybe they're wondering if probably when you get in politics, you'll be leaving the sports field.
Okay, I won't be leaving the sports field because one thing, I'm a nutritionist and I know the value of fitness. So I want to be running, I want to be keeping fit, and the best way for me to keep fit is in my field of interest, which is sport. And also I want to create a program. Let's say we can also be hosting a tournament where we invite teams from outside. When we invite teams from outside, from cooperatives, let's say corporate society, we have the Safaricom, we have, let's say, universities, institutions such as those. We can be hosting a tournament called Kerugoya Ward Open. When we invite such teams, we are also creating opportunities for the talented ones to showcase their talents, and we open such networks for them. They can interact, and the talented ones will be recruited. And we also will introduce a recruitment program where we get the best talented youths to start our, let's say, an athletics team a football team, a volleyball team, a basketball team that can compete competitively with teams from other places.
Okay, I'm sure we've now got an overview of your perspective in youth and leadership area.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you would love to talk to the youth, maybe Kerugoya Ward youth and the Kenyan youth as a general. Maybe we can use that camera to talk to them for about 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. To you, my fellow Kenyan youths, don't say that there are no opportunities here outside. There are opportunities. As Wangari Maathai tells us, I will be a hummingbird, I will do the best I can. So your best you can, do it, and then it will create opportunities for more. Like you can see, there is a mother who has goats and she needs food for the goats. Why don't you go cut grass, deliver that food, and she will buy a 20 bob, 30 bob a gunia. You have created opportunity for yourself. So opportunities are not only in the office jobs, opportunities are there. Where there are none, create them for yourself. Thank you. For the people of Kerugoya Ward, give me a chance to lead you, and we transform Kerugoya, we liberate Kerugoya, we make Kerugoya a better place, a cleaner town, a productive town, a vibrant town. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Munene.
Welcome.
That has been Mr. Munene Reuben, an aspiring member of County Assembly for Kerugoya Ward. Thank you for watching Spotlight, and keep it Pillar TV. My name is Munene Mugo.